major trigger warning for this next video. We are talking violence against women, and this woman specifically, Tami Ondusi, a nursing student who was just about to graduate, was taken out by a man right before her graduation. And her sister is sharing this collage of, her journey that she was going through. We're about to talk about. I was alerted to this tragedy that befell Tami Ondusi from this post. She says they assigned a 40-year-old felon to live with a 23-year-old nursing student in student housing. I repeat, they assigned a 40-year-old felon to live with a 23-year-old nursing student in student housing. She was only days away from graduating. He would bully her, put poop in her shoes, only to eventually stab her 26 times. He was successful in taking out this bright light. He snuffed her out all because of jealousy, and these people put her in danger. She continues with, why are Black women so unprotected? Why didn't anyone take her plea seriously? Where were her parents? Why don't we as a people prioritize having resources and safety nets for our children so this young lady could have been moved quickly? Why are men so violent? Why do we continue to be gaslit about protecting our safety as women? What kind of shady company is a place to live? For a place to live. Why did they ignore her? So many questions. She says, I am so filled with rage over this. My heart is absolutely breaking for this girl. She was failed. She was failed in many different accounts, many different ways, because she did cry out for help. She did alert them to the fact that she was being bullied, and nobody heeded those warnings. And then, like I said before, her light was snuffed out. Her family has filed a $65 million lawsuit. This is the man that took her out right here. All right, the family of a murdered Texas Women's University nursing student has filed a lawsuit seeking upwards of $65 million, alleging her death is the result of negligence. According to court documents, the 23-year-old Elizabeth Tami Ondusi was stabbed to death by her roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, in April. According to Ondusi's family's attorneys, Jonathan Cox and Troy Padilla, Ondusi and Grant were paired as roommates for a place to live approximately 2 months prior to her death. The website for a place to live states the company is a student housing provider. The website also states the company performs background checks when screening potential roommates. Cox and Padilla told ABC 13 the task is outsourced to Safe Rent Solutions, which is also named in this suit. According to Cox and Padilla, Grant has at least 2 DV-related convictions, one of which was a felony out of Washington State. So I'm going to go back to this article that came out in May. I'm skipping over some of this to get to this part. The two lived in an off-site student housing quadplex. Ondusi was set to graduate days after her death from Texas Women's University with a nursing degree, according to the university's website. Grant was a student at Fordham University, according to the magistrate. In a probable cause court, a magistrate said the two were in a fight over Grant's cat and referred to it as a brutal murder. Houston police confirmed they were called out to the quadplex several times in the past. People who live in the building said officers were on site for a fight between the roommates hours before Ondusi's body was discovered. It came out in court that Grant has been arrested and convicted several times in Washington State for DV, and most recently for violating a protective order. That protective order was in 2023, so just like 2 years ago, and that is wild that they put this young woman in danger like this. Individual rooms are rented out by the building on Go Forth for a place to live, and roommates are paired at random. On the company's website, it says, we don't use any criteria to match roommate compatibility to place roommates. The company said they run background checks on applicants. If the applicant has questionable items in the background that we think are not a fit for a shared house, we ask that they get a private unit, the website says. ABC 13 reached out for a place to live to find out if they were aware of Grant's past arrest and if they knew about the conflict between Ondusi and Grant. They did not return the call. Grant's bond was set at $500,000. They did get a statement from For a Place to Live. This is the landlord. It says, we would like to address the recent incident that occurred at one of our rental properties located at 6510 Goforth Street in Houston, Texas. Please know that we are deeply saddened and disturbed by what has occurred. From what we have learned through various reports, it seems like senseless violence took the life of a young woman. We offer this property for rent, which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom shared living unit where each resident has a private bedroom and bathroom. So what they're saying right here just sounds like they are still advertising for the property, which is crazy. It says all applicants are screened through a background check performed by a third party. How did you miss this if you performed a background check is beyond me. And this definitely seems like a reason why they should be sued. So they're talking about there was an incident on April 25th and there was complaints filed. All right, I'm skipping here. While we were able to communicate with Ms. Ondusi during our visit, we were unable to speak with Chester Grant as he did not respond to our request. We left a written note at the property requesting to speak with him. Later that same afternoon, we were contacted by the Houston Police Department and asked to return to the property. Officers were present and conducting an investigation. However, no details were shared with us at that time regarding the nature of the incident. The following day, we learned from an online news report that Ms. Ondusi had passed away. They are taking such a passive tone with this statement, and I really do hope that this gets shut down because there is no way that they are not negligent. I know that my friend in the beginning that with that post, she was laying blame on the parents for not having resources to take care of Miss Ondusi while she was away at college. She's mad at the world. She is grieving and raging, and I do completely understand. But I also know that Miss Ondusi's family, they're also grieving. And this is squarely on that man that snuffed her out. And these people, the Houston Police Department, why didn't they separate them? Why didn't they press this issue? And why did this company keep him paired up with this young woman who was 20 years younger than him, and he has violence in his background? There are so many failures in this story. This is such a sad story, and I hope that her family does get some kind of semblance of justice. A content creator named The Feminine Force put out a post that was talking about fawning. It's what some people do when they know that they're in danger, but they do it simply to survive. And it's sad that we have to talk about these things, but so many things get brushed under the rug. Women are attempting to survive, and we have social media discourse talking about gender wars this and gender wars that, but women are literally being taken out by men. Is not really a war because it's a one-sided war with typically the violence and death coming from the males towards the women. It's the peen-havers that are violent and causing the deaths typically towards us women and girls. So the Feminine Force says, to the women who had to do something similar to survive, you are extremely brave, and I am relieved you made it out alive. I'm starting with that just to preface it by saying that some of these stories that are going to be shared, they're challenging, but these women are working to survive and thrive. And some women, unfortunately, they don't make it out. Okay, let's get into this post. I do want to give a shout out to Jack of all trades, letting me know that I needed to speak on this. Okay, so here's the screenshot that the Feminine Force shared. She says, women often fawn to survive men, just to move out of their reach safely, like a woman smiling, visibly uncomfortable when you are creeping her out, but she doesn't want to get punched, shot, or stabbed. She isn't flirting. She isn't leading you on. She is trying to survive this encounter. You put her in this position. And she shared this screenshot right here from this person named Cardis. Cardis says, my roommate was attacked by her boyfriend in a jealous rage. He tried to choke her, and instead of screaming or resisting, she stayed calm and tried to caress his face and then kiss him. This calmed him down, and they spent the night together. The next morning, she was on the train back to her hometown. Men cannot even start to comprehend what women are sometimes forced to do to merely survive. The weirdness of being says, when I was great, I stayed as still as possible because I had no idea if he was going to get violent or do anything else to me. He probably thought I was fine with it or enjoyed it or something, but I was just trying to survive. The feminine force responds with, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You did what you had to survive. And that was incredibly brave. I'm relieved that you are here. You're alive and here. Shirley Astaire says, something the Diddy trial totally glossed over, what a woman does to survive in the moment. Jenna says, this is true. Why didn't you say something or fight back? She says, maybe I wanted to make it home alive. These are things that men do not consider when they are being creepy or wondering why a woman just gives her phone number and then blocks them because she's trying to get home. Exists Loudly Advocacy says, I've lived in a fawn response with my abuser. It breaks my heart now looking back at how quiet, calm, and gentle I made myself to survive his violence. I tried to soothe his rage so that I would be safe. Roaming Bird says, women are stronger than men. Yoshi says, this is why I like to keep my family life separate from my love life, because if you're going to end up being crazy or abusive, I'm going to make sure I can disappear if I need to. The fact that she can't overlap her family and blend it's a survival response. Wide-Eye Phoenix says, I did what I needed to do to survive until it was safe to leave. And Nina says, it's scary out there. When I talk about things like having your money together so you can have plans, B, C, D, elemental P, all of the plans, you know, a lot of times it's in relation to being a stay-at-home mom and a trad wife and all of that. But in reality, it's to be able to survive and thrive regardless of the situation. We don't know if somebody is going to turn violent, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to survive. You want to have money if you can just pick up, and so you can just pick up and leave and get away as quickly as you can safely. So always have a sense of self-preservation. Get your money together so you can have that sense of self-preservation and you can extract yourself if you have got to get out of a situation that is unsafe. Join the conversation, y'all. Let me know what you think about all of this. Let me know what you have done, the safeguards you put in place for yourself, your family, the ladies around you. Let's talk about some things and offer some solutions, because it is obviously challenging out there. It's dangerous out there, and we've got to be aware of it.